welcome to the YouTube channel of Books and Beyond. I am Asta Sharma, the content creator and the channel manager of Books and Beyond, and today's video is going to be a top 5 recommendations list for beginner fantasy books. Now, I read a lot of fantasy books. It's one of my favorite genres to read, so it's pretty obvious, and so I get a lot of questions regarding what book to read when you're just starting up with the fantasy genre, because let's face it, it can be pretty daunting to read about magic and different worlds and different people, and so I thought I would make a recommendations list for you guys so that you can ease up with the whole fantasy genre. So without any further ado, let's get started. So the first recommendation is going to be the Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom duology by Leigh Bardugo. Now, I recommend this series to just about everyone who is just starting out with the fantasy genre, or someone who doesn't read a lot of fantasy books, or just about everyone, because I love this book series and I want everyone to read it. And the major reason behind that is because the world of Six of Crows, according to Leigh Bardugo, is inspired by the 17th century Dutch Republic and Amsterdam. So it becomes very easy to understand and imagine the world of Six of Crows. And moreover, some of the major plot points and the recurring themes that are happening in Six of Crows is also inspired by our world, like prostitution and slavery, and most importantly, the main magic plot point that happens in this book is also inspired by our world, and that is drug use. So this series definitely falls into the more darker side of the YA genre, so keep that in mind when you pick this book up. But I really have nothing bad to say about Six of Crows because it's one of my all-time favorite series. It's got some fantastic writing by Leigh Bardugo. Leigh Bardugo is just so beautiful with her words in this, along with some amazing, well fleshed out, diverse cast of characters. We have 6 major characters and they are just a delight to read. It's got some amazing representation and a fantastic heist plot point. So all the fans of Ocean's 11, which has also got an amazing heist element to it, and all the fans of Peaky Blinders are gonna love this book series, because think about the world of Peaky Blinders. It's got those gang members and clubs and stuff like that. So all of this also happens in Six of Crows. I mean, imagine a younger version of Thomas Shelby is Kazbreca in Six of Crows, which is also one of the major characters of Six of Crows. And we also have a very serious fan cast of Kazbreca as Thomas Shelby in Pinterest and Tumblr. So I would suggest pick this book up. I mean, it's one of my all-time favorite series. I love this series with all my heart, and just read it. You're not gonna regret it, I promise. The next recommendation is not going to be a book, but it's going to be an author, and that is Trisha Levinsteller. Now, I love Trisha Levinsteller's books. I think they are so much fun to read and are so easy to get into and are so damn addicting, which are just the perfect criteria for people who are just starting out with the fantasy genre. Now, I read 3 books by Trisha Levinsteller. One is a duology and one is a standalone. So my introduction to Trisha Levinsteller was from the duology Daughter of the Pirate King and Daughter of the Siren Queen. Now, again, very easy world and easy magic system with some really fun characters and fun banter between our 2 main characters. It is a little bit romance heavy and it's just so damn addicting. I finished this entire duology in a day because I just could not put these books down. They were so easy and they were also very short. Like the duology, I think both of the books were, I would say, about around 300 pages, so it's just a breeze to just go through them and just have a really good time. And the next book that I read was The Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levinsteller, which is a recent read. I think I read it back in March or April, and I think it came out in early March or late February or something like that. And again, it was such an amazing reading experience. I finished it in one sitting because again, they are so damn addicting. Her female characters are just a delight to read because all of them are kind of like these morally gray, like anti-heroine kind of characters, and the banter between the main characters are just so good. So these books, like I said, doesn't have a lot of world building, doesn't have any complex magic systems, with just some fun characters and fun banter and a lot of action. So it becomes just perfect for people who are just starting up with the fantasy genre. So pick any book by her and you're not gonna regret it. Alright, so the next recommendation is going to be another Leigh Bardugo book, and that is Language of Thorns by Leigh Bardugo. First of all, let's just ooh and ah over this beautiful cover, and I would open it and it's just, oh, so beautiful. Can you see all this beautiful art that this book has got? It's just beautiful. I would suggest getting the physical copy because it's just so beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful books that I own. And this is a collection of short stories inspired by the Grisha world. Now, you don't really have to read any of the Grisha books to read this. You can definitely pick this book up just by itself. And all of the short stories here are somewhere or the other inspired by the Brothers Grimm's fairy tales, which consist of Cinderella and Snow White and Rapunzel. And so we've all grown up reading or listening to those stories, so it becomes very easy to get into these stories. And Leigh Bardugo has created like this very creepy and atmospheric style of writing in this book, which again makes it such a delight to read. It's one of my favorite Leigh Bardugo books. Like, I've reread this story so many times. My personal favorite is the first story, which is Ayama and the Thornwood, and the last story, which is When Water Sang Fire, which is again inspired by the Hans Christian Andersen's The Little Mermaid. So like I said, all of these stories, you know, all the Brothers Grimm's fairy tales and The Little Mermaid, we've all grown up reading those stories, so it becomes very easy to get into these stories and read it. And with Leigh Bardugo's fantastic atmospheric style of writing, is just such a delight to read, and so pretty. So I would suggest, if you can, get your hands on the physical copy because it's so pretty. But even then, just read the ebook and you are not going to regret it. The next recommendation is going to be To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christou. Now, this book is inspired by The Little Mermaid by Hans Christian Andersen, so as a result it becomes very easy to understand the world and the magic system of To Kill a Kingdom. The highlight of this book for me were the characters. Princess Lyra is one of the most badass and anti-heroines, kind of falling into the whole villain category, kind of a female character, and I love those kind of female characters who just doesn't care and are just so badass. They're just so much fun to read. So Princess Lyra definitely falls into that kind of female characters, and she is a siren, but somewhere or the other she gets cursed by the Sea Queen and she turns into a human, and then she ends up with Prince Elian, who is again one of the most badass male characters that I've read, and the romance between them was again so much fun to read. It is a pretty slow burn romance, so if you are someone who doesn't like a lot of romance in their books, then this is the perfect pick for you. And it's got an amazing cast of side characters along with an amazing action-packed plot, and as you can see, I've got like tabs in here. I've just like annotated all of my favorite lines in this book. And again, as you can see, it's a pretty short book. I've tried my best to, you know, curate as many short books in this list as possible, because I know there is a whole concept that fantasy books are really long, and they are pretty long, so I understand the hesitation to pick up a large book, and as a result I've tried my best to keep the books as short as possible so that it's easy for you guys to pick it up. And please do pick it up because they are so much fun to read, and this is just amazing. And the last recommendation is Serpent and Dove and Blood and Honey duology by Shelby Maureen, or is it Mahureen? Is the H silent? I'm not really sure. But Blood and Honey, the sequel to Serpent and Dove, was just released in Books and Beyond actually, so it's the perfect time to pick these books out and binge it out because both of the books are out. And Serpent and Dove follows a witch and a witch hunter who gets bonded in a holy matrimony, and that sets out the whole plot of the book. And the world of Serpent and Dove is again inspired by France, I want to say. It's like a fantasy version of France because people do speak French, so it becomes again very easy to understand the world of Serpent and Dove, and the magic is witch magic, which is again easy to understand and easy to imagine. So it's the perfect pick for people who are just starting out with the whole fantasy genre. And it is a very addicting read. It gets you going from the first chapter onwards with its action-packed plot and the witty banter between the two main characters, and yes, it is pretty romance heavy, so if you are someone who loves romance in your fantasy books, then this is the perfect pick for you, and let's just ooh and ah over this beautiful cover. Alright guys, that was the top 5 recommendations list for beginner fantasy books. If you enjoyed the video, then don't forget to like it, comment down which book you have read or which book you are excited to pick it up, and please consider subscribing. If you do, don't forget to click on the bell icon to get notified every time we upload a video, and I'll be seeing you guys in my next video. Till then, bye bye!